be a good idea anyway, but my recommendation would be that the Legion provide the monuments statues and that the Legion install them at the Legion's expense. And then because they're being placed on city property, the city would just automatically take over maintenance responsibilities and also, well, ownership and maintenance. And then that would also allow the city to cover the items under its property and casualty insurance.
I really like that point.
Yeah, so,
For an accident or anything last week.
because who knows what the future holds? I mean, you know, with any nonprofit, I think we can assume that a municipality is going to be around here as long as anybody would need it to be around.
Right.
Whereas nonprofits can come and go. And what we don't want to have happen is something that happens with rural cemeteries sometimes. For example, I'm just using as an example where ownership and maintenance is by a nonprofit and then things change and people move away and organizations decline. And then all of a sudden it's called, who's going to maintain this? Well, in this case, it would be the city's responsibility, and I would suggest there be some type of a memorandum of understanding that becomes part of the city's minutes of a future meeting where that is made clear. And then the Legion has the right and entitlement to present this memorial to the city in honor of those who have served and are serving.
Mhm.
And then the city can accept it, and it could be a nice public event. And that's kind of the pathway that I'm thinking makes the most sense.
Does anybody have questions for John on that? Steve, did you hear that okay?
Yes.
That would be the recommendation John is making.
Bearing in mind that nothing would prevent the Legion from, you know, placing poppies or, you know, on different days of significance to our armed forces. You know, they can decorate, they can, there's all kinds of things. The city may want to do that too. It may be a joint effort to make it a significant part of the city.
Well, I think you did a lovely job with this rendering. I think it looks great.
So John, would your recommendation be that whatever memo or agreement that gets put in place also include the idea for any possible future expansion, additional things going down there or activities to be done?
I think the Legion could do whatever it chooses to do to use the memorial to advance its, you know, its purpose. I'd like to see the Legion incorporate, frankly, become a formal legal entity. It becomes a lot easier to interact with a nonprofit when there's a board of directors with legal authority and officers and.
So John, any future activities though could be something that could be approached to the city, just like you would with any other public land.
Absolutely.
So I mean, it's wide open.
It's just it'd be a.
Yep.
Something of community interest that would be jointly beneficial to the city, its citizens and the Legion.
Sure, makes sense. As far as the specifications of building, Ryan, is there stuff in place or there specifications we can point to help the Legion understand what needs to?
No, just
ISG, and can you kind of help us craft what it is that's necessary that we would need to have for that and work with Ryan and figure out what the Legion needs to do so that way they can start getting bids if they choose to move forward with this?
Yeah.
Do you guys work on that, figure out what needs to happen? That would be great. So I guess the question is council, are you guys comfortable presenting this to the Legion as our suggested rendering of how we would like to see the units placed should they want to use city land?
I would say yes.
I don't think that we need to make a motion for that. I just think it needs to be agreeable.
I think it's informational at this point.
Okay. All right, well then we'll make sure that we get this in the hands of the Legion so that way they can review it and decide if they want to move forward with this plan. Cool. Parker, thanks for your work on this and tell Justin thank you
yeah,
too.
that's nice. Lily.
Yeah, it was a good job.
Thanks.
Okay.
Amber.
We're tabling B and C until we have updates, because I don't want to keep telling you I don't have updates, so it's just gonna be tabled until updates are available. As far as code enforcement update, we're on to new business, sorry. As far as code enforcement update, there has been, we've continued to work with code enforcement. They've been responsive. They've been sending out letters. They've been, reviewing ordinances. We're just getting clarification on what they enforce, on, what they don't enforce on. And so we're gonna work with John and make sure that we have all our T's crossed and I dotted to make sure that we're doing things exactly the way that we promised the citizens that we would do, engaging this code enforcement company. So, but as far as I know, just as an update, the staff is pretty happy with what they're doing. They're doing what they said they were gonna do. And then a couple of outlying questions we're just gonna address. So that's the update on code enforcement, because I know people wanted updates on that.
Does code enforcement include, fireworks for the Fourth of July holiday? No. Who's responsible for that?
What do you mean?
Law enforcement.
When we have fireworks going off on July 2nd at 7 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock at night?
That would be a noise complaint to law enforcement,
Okay,
because we already stated when we would allow it as a city, and then after that, it's a noise complaint to law enforcement.
thank you.
Yep.
Because there's been a lot of conversation and traffic about, 4th of July and abuses of it
You know,
on social media, and I don't want to be one of those bluebirds, but for give you the opportunity on record to say this is how people should be handling it.
this council's pretty clear about what they would like to have happen. And in fact, we have an ordinance specifically designed for it. And then we actually extended the dates this year because we understood that the 4th of July was in the center of the week. So I think I can comfortably speak on behalf of the council. I think we've been pretty clear. We communicated it in every form of communication we had with the citizens of what we want to do. And I do think that citizens that are, and Mike, there was no concerns for there was no calls or anything like that, so we were safe and everything was fine. Yeah, the 11 o'clock rain right after, helped a lot, I imagine.
That rate.
Did you order that? I thought you ordered that.
You put that in. Yeah, I don't want to take it.
Well done, well done. I think that the city's more than clear about it. I think the majority of the citizens actually do honor there's always gonna be outliers. And I think that happens in every city. It's not what we want, but we try to do the best we can to rub them in. So on to engineering updates. What you got for us, Parker?
Yes, start with the back half of our update with the community access grant, that grant. Get those,
Steve, can you hear him okay?
get those finalized in the next week to be able to submit those with our concept and cost estimate that we have provided to the city, as well as Sophie with CCOG. Anything else that you want to that? Okay. And then next with the ongoing projects in Baltic. First, the water main looping project. That one's continuing to move along. Phase 2 between 6th and 7th Street along Lovely Ave, substantially complete, needs some restoration as well as testing each of those main for bacteria as well as pressure testing before we make those or put those online. Phase 1 is continuing towards 4th Street. The next week or two, they will continue from that open field south of the school towards 4th Street, and so then starts construction on 4th Street. Once we get there, we'll again provide flyers to those that will be directly affected and update that project website to keep everyone in the loop with timelines of that project. With that, we do have pay request number 2 that's needing acceptance from council. That one's about $47,000 this time, rounding up here. Total paid to about 30% of the total project cost. That one. The Oak and Ash utility project. Everyone knows that blasting occurred a couple of weeks ago. That went well. It was pretty cool. Saw Lacey got a video.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet to see. Now they've moved up to Ash. They started removals there. And then we'll start the installation of sanitary sewer. With that, there's no anticipated service interruptions. Should go pretty smoothly. After that is completed, they'll begin installing water main. With that, there are some service interruptions that are anticipated. Again, kind of same thing with flyers, notifying those that'll be affected, updating the project website. We'll be on site, so questions can be answered there with Justin or I. And then the only other thing on that is needing approval of pay application number 1. That comes to approximately $75,000. And then what's that?
Is this the same thing?
It should be with,
Should be in there,
Okay,
and then,
74,877.67
yep, and then do you have the other one for the water main looping?
for
There as well?
47.
Yep.
47,185.
Okay. And then the final update is on that main lift station project. Within our report, we have the updated project schedule. Looking at resubmitting that to Danner by the end of this week, early next week. Bringing that to council board approval next month. Putting out advertisements for that one and then awarding the following month in September. Still have that one being completed in 2025, and we'll see with contractor availability what gets done yet this fall. Already touched on the grant, so I think that's all we got. Does council have any questions on any of that? Perfect, thank you.
any other questions for him? You make that look so easy, Parker.
Good.
Justin's gonna be sad that you look so good when you go out. Okay, so then, Sophia, with you now then?
I'm sorry,
We
You have
got open
anything?
ash, one being,
I don't think I have anything.
so, cause you know what to do.
Yes.
Okay,
So I'm going to revise the application as we discussed, get some cost estimate updates from ISG and get signatures before Monday, next week.
and John, are you gonna check on that one thing for her too?
I will.
Perfect. So will you touch base with John?
Sure.
That'd be great, just to make sure we have all our Ts crossed and Is dotted. And just as a point of reference, that's in conjunction to the grants that we've talked about in multiple meetings. We're just trying to cross our Ts, dot our Is, make sure we got everything right. So that's what that is about. Public Works update.
Parker took all the thunder.
Oh, Parker took all the thunder.
The only other thing
You're
is,
just here to spend money?
Lovely Avenue, kind of following up with that paving in front of the plastic and all that stuff. Seal Pro said within conjunction of the school parking lot, probably the end of this month. They'll be
nice.
here, they'll probably a week prior to it, they'll be here to mill and then pave in the week afterwards, so.
I hope you're right.
Shut that deal.
Yep, they're gonna put their second lift and then do everything on Bulldog Avenue where they cut out and
Yep.
they repaired everything there, so.
Has anyone heard, school want to go back to a one-way or?
It's already open both ways.
Well, yeah, but we haven't changed it, correct?
No, we have not.
And the books, we're a one-way street right now.
On the
It
book.
should be closed down, I think.
It's
Well,
closed at the
it is right
east
now.
end.
Yep,
So.
But the traffic signs were removed without
Right.
council
So
approval,
we
I
need
think
to
is what
change
happened.
something here to allow expansion of the two-way, because it's technically in the books of the city as a one-way.
I believe that Mr. McGreevy is correct in that. Isn't that in the minutes somewhere that we
Yeah.
voted to do that?
Yes.
So one idea is to communicate with the school. To have them communicate to their contractor or whoever that, reminding them that's a city street and communication needs to happen to the city when there's an adjustments of a city street. That's one way to look at it.
probably turn your back to two.
Well,
I don't know, we,
Are there any other?
we'll make sure they're ready, I guess.
Well, once they get done paving, they'll stripe it and
Yeah,
pull the barricades down.
Maybe just do a quick call beforehand.
Beforehand, I would suggest that somebody, while there's parking on that street, go down and try and drive that and see if you can safely do two ways. Because I almost was a foot ornament
Well,
from somebody who was in a big truck trying to come two-way on there. and there's not enough room backing up down that.
Sidewalks.
Against the school, yes.
And they removing some parking spaces.
On the north side,
The
right?
north side, there will be
Yeah.
no parking.
Yeah.
Do people know there won't be, is there gonna be no
There
parking?
won't be any striping. It'll be paved and there will be no striping or parking there.
Are we
And we'll
gonna
probably have to put a no parking sign
I
to
think
the side of the street.
several, maybe several. Because that's a lot of years of habit,
Yeah,
so people understand that that's no longer parking and they have to find, so we might want to price
So
out
that's
some
what
parking
you're
spots.
you know, to. Part of it, because if you want like. What is it? Parallel parking, I don't think we have that listed in part town, but usually you have diagonal parking or whatever for everybody.
I think we covered that though, when we rewrote the ordinances, when we helped the school with their permit. And I think we allowed them, we took the parking into consideration when we rewrote the ordinances. And so we can, I mean, it's definitely worth a review, but I'm pretty sure that, we'll have to look at that parallel parking, but I don't recall that parallel parking is part of that because we allowed them diagonal parking on
South side.
the south side of Bulldog Avenue, or Bulldog Avenue was considered one of the streets that could have diagonal parking, because we needed to have that identified for the purposes of ordinances. And that was one of the things that we did, but yeah, that's a good point, we need to check that, but let's just verify if the parallel parking's not on that, I can't imagine it would be, since we knew it wasn't gonna be part of the plan, the future plan. But yeah, if you wouldn't mind taking that as an action item and just checking that, that'd be great, I mean, if it's an issue, let us know. To Brian's point, once everything's opened up, the street signs are the law. So, it could be simple as a motion of saying, going, now with construction over Bulldog Avenue, should be governed as a regular street per street signage. And then you're done.
I'm assuming they're gonna strike it from one end to the other.
I
They're all
imagine.
said and done.
Right, do they strike the street or do we strike the street?
No, they'll strike their, what they pave, but what's probably existing on Bulldog Avenue will stay there.
Okay.
So they'll strike their parking on the south side, and realistically, that's gonna be probably restriped.
Okay.
Because there won't be
Because then there's still gonna be parallel spots on the north side.
Not if we mark it up.
further down,
Further down the road.
correct, where the
You
street
shouldn't be because it's too narrow along.
well, and that's where we'll probably adjust and we'll push it further to do no parking.
Mhm.
Other than that, one thing I thought of is doing possible handicap spaces. If they want by the walkway to the football field, because that's a spot where
Mhm.
at least have those handicap or whatever.
Let's review those ordinances and make sure that we,
That's where I'm thinking with parking, to limit, you kinda sometimes just. By ordinance, you can say no
Yeah.
parking up to this point or so far, and
right. Let's, step one, let's take a look at the ordinances. Lacey, will you double check any motions in the minutes? Because motions in the minutes aren't necessarily, are they hard and fast law, or do we just?
It's authoritative motion
So we probably need to have, do we need to do a motion tonight
to do what?
to undo the one way? If the streets,
We
if
have,
this,
I mean, I'd have to look at it.
yeah, if the street signs
It's,
are not.
well, it's not on the agenda anyway.
Okay, so let's look at that before school starts, because we have a meeting in August.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at that. Since they're not in full blown operation anyway, so let's do that for August, Lacey, make sure that we just have everything the way it should be. And how exciting that this, I don't know if you guys saw, but, Superintendent Bass did a live tour through the school on, Facebook, so that was kind of cool, so anyone who needed to see that is kind of fun. Okay. Finance.
I think we kind of took care of, so, I was notified that our SAM membership had lapsed.
Okay,
So we're just working on getting that renewed,
okay.
so that we need that for all this work that's being done, so
So, but the deadline's July 31st, so we have time, right?
it actually
No,
was,
okay, so we gotta do that. Okay, well, we'll get it done.
so I'm working.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, well, hey, you know what? We found that out. Now we can get it done.
Yeah.
All good. Anything else?
I don't think so.
So, community relations update.
I will do that too. I didn't know if you wanted to schedule a coffee with council. The last one was March 9th. Or if with everything, with all the events coming up, if we're maxed out here.
I would suggest we wait till the fall.
That sounds good to me.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that in the next meeting. You guys bring your October calendars and let's figure it out. Okay?
Okay. Driveway Carnival, we would like to schedule it for July 20th if everyone would be on board for that. We have 5 for sure driveways. We would need to get a few more, but at least then we can have the event. And we have a bunch of donations already. All there is getting the driveways narrowed down, but
So here's what we learned, is June is not the month for driveway carnival. There's way too much going on, too many kids' sports. June is not gonna be a month that's ever gonna work. So we're gonna have to take a look at July for driveway carnival, and it kind of feels like the third week of July seems to be what makes sense. So we'll probably look at that going forward as a standard date. The whole goal of the driveway carnival is to have neighbors meet neighbors in a really fun, relaxed environment. And so the goal is to find a neighbor in each of the respective neighborhoods to sponsor a driveway so people get to know each other. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 neighborhoods, generally speaking. And so what we're looking for is representation in each of the neighborhoods, and which would be, 6 or 7. And so that's where we're at. We're at 4 or 5 now. So we're just wrapping up a couple of the, whatever's left. And then if we have extras, we have extras. So that's kind of what's going on. It was so well received last year, and we didn't know that June was gonna be what it was. So it was just kind of a surprise. But yeah, I think July 20th is gonna work out really well. And we'll start at 1, right?
yep,
We'll start at 1. It should go pretty quick. I mean, we're
1 to
thinking,
3, we're thinking just
Yeah.
a 2-hour window this time.
yeah, just something really fun and quick and the prices are awesome, so you should come.
Yes. They're really,
Parker, you can come. It should be really fun because it's not limited to just Baltic people. It's anyone that wants to come. Okay,
can I do a plug?
Yeah.
Next weekend, July 27th, is the Veterans poker run that I think majority of us should try to get to.
okay,
And that's a fundraiser for the memorial, correct?
Yes,
okay.
Would it be awesome if, you had a approval for the proposed rendering, and they have it there?
Yeah.
It would be really great if they could do that.
Yeah.
That would be great.
what days?
so dog days, August 9th through 11th. We need to have the street closures approved for the beanbag tournament, on the 9th. For the parade, 5K and street dance on the 10th, and then the car show on the 11th. I guess I assume we need that approved.
Yes, that's been the pattern in city
Mhm.
councils. Did we have to do specific times?
So. Yes, they were kind of gonna stagger it on Friday night, remember, because of the bank and the bargain basement. So she was hoping to start setting up by 5:30. So that they could, well, actually, they were hoping to start by 5:30, right?
Yeah, they want to block off the street early,
So
but they have to do it in sections because the bank is still operating. So they can take half the street. And they have to coordinate with Tony. And then it will incrementally, as the bank closes, then they take that on, and then as the thrift store closes, they take that on, and so it's kind of like a partial closure until it actually starts, which is like 6. That's when everybody's out, that's when all the businesses are closed at 6. So it would be more of a partial closure. And then full closure at 6, and it would be the 3rd to 4th on Lovely, right, or excuse me, St. Olaf, sorry.
And so I don't know if we can do the partial closure starting at like 4:30, and then we would move down.
Second.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you. Yes, 2nd to 3rd.
Yeah,
Because that's
you're right,
second.
because that's too far over then.
Yeah. 2nd to 3rd. Why don't you just say partial closure starting at 3? So she can feel like she can be in the street, and then just make sure that Tony's okay with it.
Sure.
Because partial's vague. So it gives them a little bit of wiggle room.
So do we do this by day or can I go on with
I
the,
think we do it by day. And so then it's full closure from full,
till at least midnight?
Yeah.
I think we said two AM though,
I
in the
think
meeting.
we did say 2 AM in the meeting.
Till two AM if possible.
So we need it. Partial closure starting at 3 o'clock, which means second and third, and they get 2 AM.
The full closure starting at 6.
3 P.M.
And then to 2 AM. Okay, we got a first on that? Those in favor say aye. Sorry, Steve, did you say aye?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So for Saturday, they have the 5K, they're gonna do a walk and a run this year. So they're gonna start the walk at 8 and then start the run at 8:30. So registration will start at 7:30. So if we can start closure by 7, so we can get it.
We literally,
Set up.
we
Yeah.
did at 7 AM.
Same area. They didn't go much further than that one little spot.
It'd be second to third,
So
or actually it's only, because thrift store opens, right?
Yeah, so if you go from the Legion to,
but then we need the parade.
Oh, yeah,
at
you're right.
11.
You're right. I don't know how the thrift store is gonna,
I mean, ideally, it would be nice to just keep it closed all day, but then, yeah, I don't know. Cause the problem is like last year, we couldn't get everybody moved for the parade. And so Mr. Lavalier went around kind of yelling to try to get people to move. But-
hmm,
I mean, close it at 7, parade's at 11, why can't it?
I don't think they'll be done up there with that 5K until at least, I would say 10, like cleaned up and.
yeah,
And so then it would be an hour that the people would have to come in and get back out. So it'd be,
And it's not much of a walk.
You also have,
You know,
in addition to the thrift store from 9 to 12, you've got a big sale going on in the Legion. Other things like that are happening on that street. It's not just.
but people inherently, they go in there and they get out and they go in there and they get out and they go in there and they get out. And so we just have to have it policed. But I agree. If
I mean,
we could
there's
ju-
parking up both sides.
If we could just close the street from 1st to 4th, from 7 to noon, and it's just
Mhm.
closed,
first to third.
1st to 3rd. I'm really liking 4th Street on there for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No street to 4th.
You can walk.
So that's
But
the
if you
first
need
part of the
there-
day. Then the second part of the same day, from what to what?
First part of the second. So then,
Street dance at night.
so we were thinking, they would have to start setting up for that by
3 is
3 o'clock is what they asked
So
for.
you got a 7 to 12 and a 3 to 2. That
Yeah.
night.
pretty much.
Yeah.
But the 7 to noon is from 1st to 3rd. And the 3 to 2 AM is just 2nd to 3rd.
correct.
And actually, it's not even second, it stops at the doghouse.
Doghouse
It's
going
doghouse
east.
going east.
And they said just east of the top stop is where they thought they would be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the back of that stage kind of,
Right.
yeah, so it's doghouse to tot shop.
So we just say. Street closure, those guidelines. Make motion first.
Does that work, John?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Brian's gonna make a motion based on the conversation we just had. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thanks. Steve got the second. All those in favor say aye.
Okay.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Now we have the car show.
car show, I'm gonna request 9 to 4 just because he's hoping to have people come start like parking their cars at 10, so we need to get set up. So by 9, it'd be nice to start getting set up. And then it's supposed to go till roughly 3 o'clock. We need time to clean up, so
Yeah.
till 4 would be great.
So do we want to do 2nd to 3rd again?
I think we're gonna need a lot.
I think we're gonna need.
We're gonna need this whole, which it's a
We did.
Sunday, so nothing should be open really.
Yeah.
Let's just do 1st to 3rd then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. I like this.
He's got a lot of people coming.
And there's food trucks coming too and
Yep,
everything.
food
so-
trucks for each day.
Yep.
So,
Super
Make a
duper.
motion to close from 9:04 first, third.
Yep.
I'll second.
So Brian, Nikki, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Got that done. Fireworks permit.
I don't have his insurance yet. Is that an issue? Or can we at least?
Well,
just
we can
approve-
approve the permit pending insurance.
Okay. He says he has it, but he's good, and we've used him the last couple of years, so he said he'll send it to me. But we're good to go with him if we will have.
I just need a motion saying that we approve the permit pending the receipt of insurance.
I'll make a motion,
That's right.
I'll make a motion to approve the fireworks permit pending on the receipt of insurance.
Satisfactory.
I will second.
Satisfactory to our city attorney.
Okay.
Whatever he said.
Okay. Nikki's got the first.
Second.
I'm gonna give it to Brian, because I like the ball.
He said it before I did it.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay, fireworks permit is passed. Legal matters.
Was I authorized to write the letter? Do you want to be?
Oh, yeah, so we received some correspondence from the developer regarding the status of the settlement agreement, and my recommendation council is to give John authority to respond accordingly to that correspondence.
Right.
No, we did.
So do we have to have a motion for that though, or not?
No, very good.
Or is it just advisement?
Yeah, fine. Yeah.
Okay,
Make it public.
you have been so advised to respond
All right,
to the correspondence.
and then we'll make the correspondence trail public.
Available.
As soon as I'm done.
Okay, that sounds good. I think that's everything that we had, guys. 40 minutes, 41 minutes. Not bad.
Make a motion to adjourn at 8:41.
Oh, wait a minute, you guys, is there any, hold on a second, hold on a second, is there any council updates?
Nothing from me.
I want to say something. I want to say something. Okay, nothing. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's all we got, so,
8:42 now.
sorry.
We'll
8:42.
take it.
Make the motion to adjourn.
Nice.
Thank you, Ryan.
I need a second. Steve's got the second.
Yay,
Those in
Steve.
favor say aye.
Bye.
Any opposed? Good night, Baltic. Good night, Steve. Good night, Gracie. Good night, Gracie.
Steve.